Yeah.
Thank you, Erik. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, so what do the San Diego Gulls and the Titanic have in common?
They both went down fast.
They both look good until they hit the ice. I have to start with a hockey joke if I'm going to talk about hockey. Now, I did not grow up with hockey. I grew up playing football. But I fell in love with hockey when I saw what it could do for my children. And does anyone here remember Ron Pennick? Ron Pennick started a hockey program that was roller hockey that was located over at Parkway Plaza. And that was where I first brought my son, Jared, my oldest son at the time, who was only about 4 years old, and I started him in roller hockey. And he hated it. And he did not want to go. And I forced him to because I knew it was good for him. And I've always been in the mentality that if something's good for you, you do it whether you like it or not. Sort of like sales. I don't like rejection, but it makes me money. So I forced myself to like it. And with enough self-delusion, I actually enjoy it now after 25 years. And it's the same way with hockey. Of course, it took my oldest son a lot less time. It didn't take him 25 years to enjoy it. It only took him about 3 seasons. And by his 3rd season, he loved it so much I could not get him off of the roller rink. I would have to tackle him as he skated by because he refused to come off and let somebody else have their turn. And I remember when they shut down the rink, Ron Pennick ended up selling it to a developer who didn't bother getting around to develop it, and so it's a big trash heap, and it's been that way for 10 years. But that's a different story, but I'll get around to telling that someday. And we moved on over to the Santee roller skate rink. And the Santee roller skate rink was absolutely fabulous. Did any of you guys ever go to the Santee rink? The Santee roller skate rink was well done. It had a wooden floor. It had been around for 20 years before we got there. And we had these leagues that were for preschoolers and elementary schools and junior high schools, and it was awesome. And I got to be a coach. I'd only been doing this for 3 or 4 years, and I was already as experienced as everyone else who was in the industry, or at least that's what I thought. So I would bring my whole clan over there, because I have 6 children, and what I figured is I'd get the girls and my son all in the same program. There'd be some sharing of skates and of gear. I'd save some money that way. I'd be able to spend father-son time and father-daughter time so no one could ever accuse me of only favoring my sons. And we would have this great program, and I could train them from when they were just barely able to skate all the way up to when the time they became hockey legends. That was my goal. And I had this great time as a coach in front of a lot of people, and I'd have 10 or 15 people on my team, and I made up these great names for my kids. We all had nicknames because that was part of being on the Wiese's Warriors. And we had these red shirts, and it used to be the Devil shirts, but now they're Wiese's Warrior shirts, and I got the Wiese logo, and I got the eagle, and I put it on the front, and I paid for all of their jerseys. And my oldest son, we called him Cobra, and Jessica, we called her Nala, because at the time that they had that, what was the Disney one where they had all of the lions running around, and the Lion King. And the lioness in the Lion King was named Nala, so she wanted to be Nala. And then I had Mary, and Mary was good at causing mayhem, so we called her Mary Mayhem. And then little Caitlin was not that good. It wasn't her fault. She was really small. She was only about 4 years old. Everyone wanted to call her Speed Bump, but I thought that was cruel. So we called her Wildcat. And we had this fabulous time, and everyone else I got to have little nicknames, and they loved their nicknames, and if they didn't, they told me, and I'd have to change them. But we'd start off with the coach deciding the nicknames and changing them later. So we had this fabulous time, and one of the best memories I've ever had is I must have done it about 8 seasons. And I was doing a good enough job in our practices, because we all practiced separately, that they kept stealing my better players and putting them on other teams in order to make them competitive. Because we just kept beating everybody, and we kept winning. And it was really fun to be part of a winning program. And really, one of my better players, Philip, ended up being taken and put on another team, and we ended up in the championship playing Philip's team against Wiese's Warriors. And Philip used to be on our team. So I got together with all my guys and said, now, you guys, Philip's a good guy. We know Philip, and we know all of his strengths and weaknesses. We know he likes to take the puck from one end to the next and he doesn't pass. So normally we all play positions and we cover the open men. But now we're all going to concentrate on Philip. So you're all just going, whenever Philip gets the puck, you're just going to go after Philip because we know we'll never pass. And we ended up getting down to where we were tied and there was only a minute left in the game. And I was admiring Philip because he'd scored 3 points against us, and Jared has only scored 2 points against the other team. So I was really pulling for Jared to get his hat trick and get one more. And he went down, and he was going back and forth, and he passed it to Mary Mayhem, and Mary Mayhem passed it back, and he took a shot, and it didn't go in. And then Philip got it, and Philip started going around all of my players 2 or 3 times in a row, coming down, looking like he was going to shoot, and it got blocked by the goalie. And then little Caitlin got it, and Caitlin passed it up. Caitlin actually did something. The speed bump worked. She passed it on up to my son, Jared, who went down, went around 2 people, and shot it into the net to win the game. Yay. In the last couple seconds. It was just like something that was in Disneyland. It was just the best thing ever. And I'm going, yeah, we won the championship. It was awesome. One of my best memories ever. So after I did roller hockey, because then they shut down Santee Roller Skate Land. Some developer gave them so much money, they decided that hockey was not as important as making money putting in a Vons. Well, that's capitalism for you. So they sold that program, and there was no roller hockey in all of East County for 2 or 3 years. And we tried to go off and do ice hockey, and we had fun in ice hockey, and we kept our skating skills up in ice hockey, but all my girls decided they didn't want to play ice hockey, except for Nala. She did well. She continued to skate and went over and was in a program all the way up until senior in high school, and I was very proud of her on an all-girls team over in Santee. But after Jared and Nala, Jessica, none of my other girls wanted to play hockey, so it was a little bit disappointing. So I said, we got to get a hockey program back. Where am I going to find one? Well, I sold this building. It was a 44,000 square foot building over on Denny Way, and it's 165 Denny Way, and the people who bought it only needed half of it. And it used to be an old bowling alley, so there were no posts. This is really important. If you're going to have a hockey program, it's hard to dodge posts as you go up and down in the rink. So I said, this is a great place to put in the new hockey rink. Where am I going to find one? So I went all over the county, talked to all over the people who were in that sport, and I came across Joe Norris, who was down in South Bay. And I said, Joe, we've got this great building that you need to come up and take a look at, because it has no posts. You can't find a building with no posts. Joe, you got to come up. And Joe said, well, yeah, okay, I'll come up. He looked at it, he liked it, we put in an offer, and then I had to deal with the people that had bought the building. And I will not tell you their real names, but you can call them Tweedledum and Tweedledee. They took 1.5 years to negotiate on putting these guys in, because they would not return telephone calls. It was horrendous. I would call them, they would take weeks to get back to me. Then they'd call back, and if I didn't drop everything, I mean, when somebody was calling and I looked on my cell phone and it was Tweedledum, I'd say, stop everything, stop, priest, stop, I gotta go outside, take the call, or it'll be another 3 weeks before I can get it. I'd be running out in the middle of church, yes, what can I do for you? Can I put the deal together? And they'd lead me on, they'd say, yes, we really want to do the deal, we really want to do it. Draw up this counteroffer and send it over to me. The very next day, I'd go in, I'd draw out the counteroffer, I'd send it off. Weeks would go by. I would follow up every other day, every other week. Months would go by. And then when I just got sick and tired and just wouldn't call them anymore, another month would go by. And then they'd call me and say, well, did you present our offer? I said, what offer? You got to sign the offer. You can't just have me expect that I'm going to prepare stuff. You never sign it, and months go by. I thought you didn't even want to rent it anymore. 1.5 years goes by before they finally do the deal. Now, the best thing that happened is we put in there, because I was representing Joe Norris and the owner, and after 1.5 years of this, Joe was ready to hang it up. So the deal finally happens. I only get paid half when I sign the lease, half when they move in. Here's the best part. These guys took so long doing anything. We had a provision in the lease that the rent wouldn't start until they had done some things for tenant improvements to divide the space. And they took 6 7, 8 months to do the 10 improvements. So Joe's calling me and saying, "Hey Eric, that was neat that you put that in the lease. I haven't had to pay any rent for the last 7 months." And on the one hand I was thinking, yeah, I really could use the other half of my commission check, but I feel so much better about sticking it to these guys who have stuck it to us for a year and a half. Way to go, Joe! Woo-hoo! So anyway, another lesson from hockey. So finally they get their program in, and now I'm back doing roller hockey again, which is why I'm coaching again and doing it up till about 6 o'clock, where I run home, stuff some food in my face, try and take a shower, and get here right beforehand. And we just had another season for roller hockey. I don't have my older children in there yet, but I have my youngest one, Reagan. And I haven't given Reagan a nickname, but if I did, it'd probably be Purple Hair.
Blue Flame.
Blue Flame.
Smurf.
But we are called the Red Wings. So we have the red jerseys, and I was out there.
The contrast, I get it.
Yes, yes. So, and we were having a fabulous time this last weekend, and we were in the playoff game again. And I don't know what it is, but I guess I know how to coach. But what I try and do is I try and catch my kids doing stuff that's right. I try and catch them 3 or 4 times, tell them what they're doing right rather than what they're doing wrong. Try and encourage them that way. And my youngest son, Reagan, who is now, 15 years old, when he first started, when he went up to check somebody on defense, he'd go like this. Come up like that. He didn't want to get hit. Didn't really like it. But I kept with it. And I kept with it. He said he wanted to quit. And I said, no, you're going to become a man someday. You're going to learn how to enjoy slamming people. Slamming them, hitting them. And now in this last game, it was fabulous. This kid, now my son's only going into 8th grade, and he's playing with high schoolers. And this kid comes down who's probably in 11th or 12th grade. He's just as tall, but he's got another 30, 40 pounds of pure muscle. He's an awesome player. He's been running all over us all day long, scoring right, left, everywhere. And I've been yelling out, "Take the body, son! Take the body!" So what does my son do? My son comes right up and goes, wham! Right with his head, smashes this guy, gets run over, but the guy goes flying head over heels, and I'm like, yes! Yes, that's my son! Yes! So, I wish I could tell you we won the game. We did not win the game, but that was another fabulous experience, watching my son grow up, giving me memories that will last forever. This show's
All right.